With Toji's triumphant return and the complete resurgence of his hype, I thought it would be an interesting time to talk about, since he'd completely dismantled and destroyed Dagon in the last episode of Jujutsu Kaisen, what would have happened if he stayed just a little bit longer to see Jogo pop up? What if Jogo pulled one of the try that with me moments? Could Toji actually beat him? And if so, could he beat Mahito? And I think this question is a little bit more interesting than people tend to give it credit for being. Right off the bat, I do want to say that this fight depends entirely on how you scale it. If you are someone who believes that domain expansions are scaling to the power of the individual because of their aesthetics, Toji gets absolutely obliterated by Jogo, and it's not close. The fact that he had Playful Cloud, something that took Maki, who was stated to be weaker than Todo, along with all the other students combined, to then being able to tear a chunk out of Hanami's arm. And Toji's even physically stronger than her, meaning the amp for Playful Cloud is bigger. And Dagon, in your mind, is island level, and he's literally having to beat Dagon down, hitting him with hundreds of attacks just to kill him. And then they see Jogo walking, and the immediate reaction of the people who just saw Dagon is this curse is stronger. Jogo would absolutely, completely foderize Toji if you at all believe in any of that. So looking at this more on a narrative level, and looking at this more of a how I think Jujutsu Kaisen consistently scales, I think this is more interesting. So the first curse that he would then have to fight after fighting Dagon, or even if he had come across them first, Jogo. This fight is interesting for the fact that it entirely depends on, does Jogo open his domain expansion or not? How fast does Toji try to kill him? Because if he already has Playful Cloud and he sees Jogo and he just runs up on him, he's going to kill him. Jogo is stated to be slower than Naobito. Naobito was being blitzed by a domain Dagon. He got blitzed like 2 times, and for some reason Dagon even was capable of reacting to Toji in the anime. I don't really know why he has that type of speed in the anime, but he does. He's still clearly superior to Dagon, but it shows just how fast Dagon is, and that's completely out of the range of base Jogo. So if he does just run up on Jogo and he has Playful Cloud, he's running up, probably one-shotting him with it. It's very simple. Dagon's durability is roughly like up there with like Hanami's, so there's absolutely no chance if he doesn't have the domain open. If he does have the domain open, that's different, because Toji will jump into it, because the trade-off for this Toji from the one that we saw prior is that he is now free. And if you've read the manga, you know exactly what freedom means for people like Toji. He has his sense and he has his full capability. He's not weighed down, tied down by anything, no regrets, no weakness, but he doesn't have his mind. He's not prepping, he's not planning, he's just running up trying to fight everyone. So this is different from a theoretical prime Toji. He's close, but he doesn't have the mind. So then if he does jump into the domain and Jogo gets the same amp Dagon, who is slower than Naobito, while Jogo was considered probably slower, well, now he's going to be that much faster, meaning he's going to be way faster than Dagon ever was. And in terms of power, again, if you are at all scaling Toji directly to Dagon, again, someone he did have to hit so many times with Playful Cloud, Jogo does have the firepower to put Toji down if he hits him inside the domain. Outside the domain, it's Toji's win. Inside the domain, Jogo's going to win. He's going to be faster than Toji is, and he's going to have the firepower to completely take him out. So it all just simply depends on how and when it happens. Mahito, on the other hand, is a bit more interesting. If we're taking him when he fights Yuji, his power level purely depends on, do you think he grows more throughout that fight than Hanami did in their fight with Yuji? Because in Hanami's fight, they start off weaker than Jogo, but then they evolve to the point they unlock the domain expansion, and then the subway Hanami that we see is actually on the same level as Jogo. So it all depends on, do you think the 0.2 second domain along with Black Flash increase? Also keep in mind, pre-transformation here, do you think that would be greater than what Hanami evolved to? Because if you think it is, then we're talking about a Mahito close to the end of the Yuji fight who's stronger than Jogo. And that's not boding really well for Toji when his only way to even beat base Mahito is to try to outrun his cursed energy. If he's that strong in comparison, his ability to push Toji, especially with all the abilities he ends up gaining and using in that fight, becomes a lot more realistic. And that doesn't even begin to talk about the amplification he would get from his domain, or the fact that his domain doesn't even quite work like theirs does. Because as we know with Maki, the short hits of normal domains don't work. But Mahito's domain is just his curse technique on a larger scale. when you enter in that domain, like we saw with Nanami, you're just in the palm of his hand, like quite literally. So his ability to activate his technique on Toji might actually work. And if it does, that kind of just solidifies the fact, at least in my mind, that Mahito is the one he has the least chance of actually beating, especially when he doesn't have his mind, no soul splitter blade. So for me, this kind of just leaves one question left, and that's Hanami, the one who was already dead when he got there. Now, with Hanami, as I kind of alluded to earlier in the video, there's a misconception that Hanami is at their goodwill level of power in the subway station. But as I said, when they opened the domain, they grew and got even stronger. In Jujutsu Kaisen 0, it's often thought Gojo doesn't have his domain, and that's why he's at the level of power he is there in comparison to Season 1. Hanami had a massive increase in power, and we even see this when they're fighting on par with Jogo. And Gege's official statement on their matchup is that Jogo would technically win because of the flame attribute and how it would actually affect Hanami's natural durability. If that's the case, that means that in literally all of Jogo's fights, Hanami does even better than Jogo himself does. The only real thing that we have to really question here is what is the maximum technique of Hanami and what is their domain surrogate? How does it work? But I don't think that Toji really is going to be doing any better against Hanami than he did against Jogo. If anything, he might do worse because of the durability difference. So if I had to kind of rank all of these, Dagon, obviously, he won. He's winning that probably 100% of the time. Jogo, it's more of a 50-50. Hanami, it's probably more of a 60-40 split. And with Mahito, I think he's probably winning that about 90% of the time. And that, again, I didn't even get on to what happens when he transforms. There was the weekend one that Yuji fought, probably beating that one. That one's kind of weird because he does start blitzing Yuji and Todo, so if you have him beyond Jogo and then add that extra amp, it's probably only getting the Naobito tier speed at that point at best, if you did think he was already around Jogo's level. If it's the full transformation, it was like hyped up basically to be like the next Sukuna, and he isn't weakened off that Black Flash, and it's the one who would have tore Yuji and Todo apart. I don't think Mahito has any difficulty beating Toji at that point. I think he's just way too strong. But let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe. That really would help me out a lot. And let me know what it is you want to see me talk about next. 人にとって死は鏡、真人はその鏡そのものです。